Okay, so get this. We're diving into a story um, about a family pool.
Oh,
But it's not just any pool. It's one of those stories that, like, really gets under your
oh,
skin.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
The kind that stick with you even after you finish reading.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you keep thinking about it. And the setting is so normal, so familiar that it makes the whole thing even creepier.
Right. Like it could happen to anyone.
Exactly. So we're looking at Chowanoke, which is a short story by Kyle McMahon. And it starts off with this family. They're so excited about their new pool.
I can imagine. Who doesn't love a new pool?
Right. But the thing is, they waited like 8 months for this thing to get built. 8 months of
Oh,
anticipation.
wow. They must have been bouncing off the walls by the time it was finally ready, especially the kids.
Oh, totally. The story really emphasizes that excitement, too. Like, they've got all the pool toys you can imagine. Goggles, noodles, diving rings, you name it. You can practically smell the chlorine and hear the laughter.
Sounds idyllic. So what's the catch? Where does the creepy come in?
Well, it doesn't take long for things to take a turn. The older brother, Sam, he's getting out of the pool and something yanks him back in.
Whoa. Like really yanks him
And
in.
hard, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like someone or something grabbed him and pulled him back.
And nobody else is in the pool?
Nope, nobody. And even creepier, Sam's dad jokes about it being a ghost specifically from the Chowanoke tribe.
Oh, wow. Okay, that sends shivers down my spine already. See, that's what makes it so effective. It's not just a random ghost story. It's like it's tied to the history of the land.
Exactly. So for those of us who might need a refresher, who were the Chono?
Well, the Chowanoke were Native Americans, indigenous to the coastal region of what we now call North Carolina. And the story mentions the Great Dismal Swamp, which is important.
Okay, yeah, I remember that from the story.
Right. Well, that's where many Chowanoke sought refuge when they were driven from their land.
Wow, so a place of both safety and danger.
Exactly. It would have been a difficult existence, full of hardship.
Yeah.
So you've got this juxtaposition of this family's excitement over this symbol of leisure, this pool, and then this darker history tied to the land.
And that's just the setup. Trust me, it gets even creepier.
I bet it does. What happens next?
Well, the next day, Sam is swimming with his cousins, and everything seems fine until he's diving for rings in the deep end, and...
Oh, man, here we go. This is where things really start to get to you.
Right. He feels it again, that force yanking him. But this time it's different. It's not a quick pull. He's held under.
Oh, God, no. Like something's trying to keep him down there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like whatever's in that pool doesn't want him to come up for air.
That is seriously disturbing.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be pulled back in, but to be held under, that's terrifying.
And the story really emphasizes how terrified Sam is at this point. He almost drowns. It's like all the fun of having a pool just goes right out the window.
You know, it makes you think about all the stories of people who have near-drowning experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how even if they're physically okay, the trauma stays with them. Those feelings of panic, the feeling of being trapped underwater.
Right. It makes you think, could that be playing a part in what Sam's experiencing? Like maybe his fear is making him imagine things?
That's a really interesting question. Because on the one hand, you have these unexplained events happening in the pool. But on the other hand, Sam is the only one who feels them directly at first. So is it really a ghost? Or is it all in his head?
Right. It's like the story wants us to question what's real and what's not.
And just when you think it can't get any weirder, it does. Because here's the thing. Sam might be freaked out, but his little brother, Parker, he has no idea what's going on.
Of course not. He's just a little kid. He just wants to splash around and have fun.
Right. He's completely oblivious to the danger, which just ramps up the tension even more, because now we're worried about him.
Totally. And sure enough, things escalate. Sam is watching Parker in the pool when he sees it, this ripple on the water, like something moving just beneath the surface.
Oh, no. You know that feeling when you just know something bad is about to happen?
Yes. And then, bam, Parker's dragged under.
It's like something out of a nightmare. And it reminded me of all those folk tales about water spirits and creatures that pull people down into the depths.
Oh, interesting. You know, I never thought about it like that, but it makes sense. There's something so primal about that fear, right?
Absolutely. It goes back centuries across so many cultures. You have these stories of these beings that live in the water, in lakes and rivers and oceans. And they're often portrayed as these beautiful but dangerous creatures that lure people to their deaths.
Like sirens. You hear those stories and you just get chills.
Exactly. And those stories tap into this fear we have, this fear of the unknown, of what lurks beneath the surface of what we can't see.
And I think that's what makes Chowanoke so effective. It takes this ordinary setting, a family pool, and it transforms it into something terrifying.
Because it's not just a pool anymore, right? It's almost like it's become a portal to something else, something connected to the dark history of the land.
And now, Parker, he's caught in the middle of it.
And what's really interesting is that this is the turning point where the story shifts from just Sam's experience to something more. Because up until this point, everyone else was kind of skeptical, like maybe Sam was imagining things.
But when Parker is pulled under, well, you can't really ignore that.
It suddenly becomes all too real.
Right. It's not just Sam's imagination anymore. It's like everyone has to confront what's happening in that pool.
And it's Sam, despite being terrified himself. He's the one who jumps in to save his brother.
Wow, that's intense. I mean, he's been pulled under twice already by this thing, and still he goes back in without hesitation.
Exactly. It's like all that fear just disappears when he sees his little brother in trouble. That's real courage right there.
Absolutely. It really makes you think about the strength of family, those bonds that make you face anything.
And it's in that moment of crisis, as Sam's trying to pull Parker back up to the surface, that their dad feels it too.
Wait, really? He feels that force?
Yeah, like something grabs hold of both of them, pulling them down. It's no longer something that just Sam can feel. It's undeniable.
So what do they do? I mean, at that point, how do you even begin to deal with something like that?
Well, they drain the pool.
Of course. Makes
Yeah.
sense. You got to see what's down there.
Right. Hoping to find some kind of explanation.
Oops.
And they do find something, although it's not exactly an answer. More like another piece of the puzzle.
Okay, I have to ask. What did they find?
A tiny arrowhead.
Whoa, an arrowhead. Okay, now that's just creepy. It really does make you think of the Chowanoke tribe.
Right. It connects what's happening in the present to this much older story. This history that maybe hasn't been settled yet. It's like this chilling reminder that we're not always building on empty ground.
Makes you think twice about what might be buried right under our feet.
Exactly. And what I find so effective about Chowanoke is that it doesn't give us all the answers.
Right. Like, does the arrowhead belong to the Chowanoke? Was the pool built on a sacred burial ground? We're left to wonder.
The story leaves us with this lingering sense of unease. Like some things are better left undisturbed, that sometimes the explanations we seek might be more terrifying than the mystery itself.
Exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive into Chowanoke so thought-provoking. It's not just a scary story about a haunted pool. It's about our relationship to history, the land, and the secrets that lie beneath the surface. And sometimes those secrets, well, maybe they're better left buried.